Hi travelers, I've got my little camera set up on my tripod here, and I'm going to pre-record this little intro so that I can put it in front of every video. So unfortunately, as you go back to look at your moon and rising signs, you'll be hearing this again, but it's okay. So I told you that for January there were going to be there's a new deck of cards and a new way that I'm going to be attempting to read the cards. The cards are the Fin de Siècle, okay, known as the Kippers, and it's not a new deck. Lots of people use them, okay. Supposedly they're like the Lenormands, only I find them to be completely different from the Lenormands, and just in my experience with them, and they, for me, are more like the La Vida Sibila cards. I've also discovered that there are a few things missing from the cards in terms of situations that could happen. There's cards that are missing that could refer or relate to some of those situations. And as we go further into the year and I continue to do more readings with them, you'll understand what I mean, because I'll talk to you about it. And so I, read the little book that came with it. Okay. And that's all well and good. Some of the stuff I didn't understand or I did not agree with. And so, you know me, I created my own little book, the Fin de Siècle. Now, before I talk to you about what I did with the book, I am quite sure there's going to be somebody out there who's going to come up underneath the video and be like, well, that's not how the cards are read, or that's not what the cards say, or that's not what the meanings are. And that's fine and good. I have a process of bonding with my cards, of imprinting with my cards, and I wrote about that in a little short article over on Substack about tarot hygiene. And so in imprinting with the cards, they were really talking to me a lot. And so I was able to go back in and write my own little book and add some extra interpretations into it in terms of how the cards spoke to me in combinations with other cards. And so that's what's contained in the book. All right. Now, the way the cards are going to be, here's the deck. Okay. And so they're almost like I find them completely different from the Lenormands, especially the French Lenormands, even the Dorndorf, the German Lenormands. They're completely different. I think these cards are a little bit more plain spoken. So in that regard, they behave a lot like the La Vida Sibila. I've been doing some practice pulls. I haven't necessarily had to use the Sibilas for clarification, but I may have to. That's not the fault of the cards. That would be me, the reader, not understanding what the cards are saying to me. So I will be using, perhaps, if need be, the La Vida Sibila for a bit of clarification. These are going to be shorter readings this year. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe a 10 card spread, anywhere from 6 cards to 10 card spread in a pyramid shape with 3 additional cards off to the side. Those 3 cards additional off to the side will be dealt first face down, and then the rest of the cards will be dealt face up. So the 3 cards to the side that are face down will be things that may come into play. Okay. Again, as with all readings that I do here on YouTube, these readings are free, therefore they are general. And in order to gain any insight into your own specific situation requires a personal reading. And the way that I do personal readings, how you book with me, you contact me by email, and I get your birth date and your sun sign and just your questions. I don't want to know the story. I don't need to know the story about what's going on with you. I just want to know what the questions are, and then I read for you. I do live Zoom readings for 60 minutes. Everything else is recorded, which you upload it to YouTube so that you can go in and view them, download it, save it, delete it, whatever you want to do. I don't need the reading anymore. It's yours to do whatever you want to do with it. And so I always like to give that its general because I'm going to be reading for so many different people of sun, moon, and rising signs. So again, if you recognize a story, then you can always just book with me. You can go over to the About Box section of my channel, and there you can find my reading packages. And I left one off, the 20-minute reading, so it's up there now in the About Box section. Once you pick your package, you simply email me, and then we go from there, okay? I have payment links, everything. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to explain to you the cards, how I came about some of these interpretations. And before I finish, I want to give a shout out to Bella Dutch, who talked to me about these cards. She said she loves them, and now I understand why. So thanks, Bella. I appreciate that. I've been looking at them for a while, but just they didn't seem interesting to me, and I had bought so many decks that didn't speak, but this deck does a lot of talking. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and then we're going to get started with the readings. So I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Hi, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is going to be your first general reading for 2023. I hope you saw the little intro before this. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to try to turn the camera around without making it go all wacky or crazy. If it does lose focus, just kind of bear with me. We'll address that issue, and then we're going to lay the cards, okay? So let me turn the camera around. Let me see if I can adjust it. Hold on. I should have did this before I got started, so that we can see the table. There we go. Hopefully my hands won't be moving so fast, and you'll be able to see all of the cards. Can I twist that on there? I think I'm doing it the wrong way. Okay, just bear with me. Oh my God, what is happening? Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to slide that back. Oh, slide that back a little bit. Okay. You might not be able to see everything, so it's kind of crooked, is it not? Anyway, I think it's okay. We'll just have to go with it until I can figure it out. I don't want to move around too much because, as I said, the camera will lose focus. So the way the cards are dealt, again, we're going to have 3 cards off to the side, face down, and then 6 to 10 cards. Okay, I think that should kind of help. So here we go. First 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. It looks like we lost a bit of focus there. See if I can. Usually if it gotta put it on my face. Okay, there we go. That's craziness, I tell you what. All right, so the cards are laid in a pyramid, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the deck. I'm gonna put those there. Your first card is courtship. Second card, community. Third card, sudden wealth. Wow, that's interesting. Next row, marriage. Main male. Despair. Well, I say, Aries, it started off kind of good, and so I'm going to lay one more row of cards. I don't know if I can move the camera out a little wider. There we go. One more row of cards would be 4. This is 6. The Lovers. Oh, let me show it to you. The Lovers. Oh my. Toil and labor. Pathway. And great fortune. My, that is the luckiest card in the deck, the Great Fortune deck. And basically the way the cards are read are exactly the way I placed them out. However, what is at the center and the focus is the main male. Now, the main male is either, let me back it up. So this reading will apply whether or not this is a heterosexual relationship or same-sex relationship. So the main male is going to be whomever is the most important man in your life at the moment, or the person who takes the male role, okay? And everything else is kind of going on around this guy. So courtship at the top. I don't think this is, well, yes. What I can say is that to me it appears that maybe you met somebody, you dated the person, everything seemed to be going okay. We have the community card. So to me, this would be an indication that maybe this is someone that you met through associations, groups, networks of friends, and it happened kind of suddenly. Okay. The sudden wealth card does talk about, sudden wealth. So this could be winning stuff, but it also has simply a connotation in this sense of saying something happened suddenly, kind of out of the blue. So unlike I was saying, unlike these Sibilas, it's missing a card that actually stands for that, right? And perhaps you guys got married, if not in a actual marriage. And this 2 card has to be supported by with this card, and that card. So it talks to me about a marriage. Even this combination of sudden wealth or great fortune, the lovers and marriage, indicate a marriage to me. But there are problems in the marriage. There is isolation. There is loneliness. Maybe there's hopelessness. There's a worry and there's anxiety here. And in fact, the relationship has become to such an extent that it is the idea that it's hard work, the toil and labor card. You're just trying to work on it, and it's not something fun, and it's not something, that you enjoy doing, but you're doing your best to work on it. It speaks to mechanized processes. So in a sense, it's like you're going through the motions in a sense of the relationship. But then it's followed up by the pathway. So the pathway deals with just that, all roads, pathways, nature and the forest. But it also talks about maybe that it is time for someone in the relationship to take a different path, choose a different road, go a different way. So the card can speak to liberation. It could even be suggesting that maybe, well, the journey card's not here, so I can't really say that. But then we see great fortune. Now, great fortune is somewhat like the Fortuna card that you see in the Sibilas. And let you look at her. In fact, this is Fortuna. But as you can see, she is not blindfolded. So this is not about someone else steering destiny in a way, or steering your destiny in a way in which you are unaware of. This is the idea that you are aware of what comes next. So sometimes the great fortune card can just be this idea of something very, very fortunate happening to you. Okay? Because toil and labor, you don't get wealthy from toil and labor. There's another card for that. This is the 12 hours a day with nothing to show for it. You don't have enough money really to do anything with. So it's that kind of a card. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is the main male who feels this way, or if it's you feeling this way about him. And what it appears to me is that the relationship is in trouble. Perhaps the thing is you met too quickly. You got married too quickly. Sometimes over here with these cards, this could be the idea that maybe, because if you see in the back, the card says not hiring up there in the corner. So this could be the idea of having lost a job, a very well-paying job, and now you're having someone having to work at menial labor, or they're working a job where it's not enough money. And we know that the majority of relationships break up or have tension and stress due to finances. To me, this doesn't look like it's a third party situation. Sometimes the courtship card can be the idea of well, yeah, it's just meeting people, meeting someone, getting together. There was a seduction. Okay, so sometimes this card talks about seduction, and in the beginning, which is interesting, and I want to show this to you. In the beginning, this was not like love at first sight, and the reason why is Cupid, his bow is not even drawn. His bow is at the rest. So this was something I think that maybe you guys met. You felt like you had like minds, you felt the same about things, you had the same ideas, maybe you've been to the same places, the same interests. And so to me, it's like this sudden coming together. You guys decided to get married. Okay, now I want to take a look to see if there are any combination cards here. And as I said, for those of you purists out there, these are combinations that the cards gave to me. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to look at this main male. And really it just says, you know, this is what the reading is about. So if this is not he himself that's feeling this way in the relationship, then this is the way you feel in relationship with him. Okay. Yeah, a new person entering your life through that's what the courtship card stands for. Let me go over here to sudden wealth. Okay, that doesn't apply. Who is this? Okay. So we want to go all the way over to the despair card, number 32. Now, I will say that there is a mitigating card here. So if great fortune and pathway is next to this card, and even community, okay, it says that it can offer a bit of hope. So this tells me that all is not lost at the moment. Okay. For some of you, its main meanings are grieving, weeping, worry, anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and stress. Okay. But because these three cards here are coloring the spread, this lets me know that all is not lost. And that's always a good, there's light at the end of the tunnel. However, the timing of this card is an indication of 1 to 2 years. This is the timing. And maybe in June, sometime in June, this is when you started having trouble in the relationship, or this person felt that the relationship was no longer sustaining them. Now, again, to me, there's no indication that there's a third party here. But we don't want to rule that out in terms of the community card, because maybe one of you or he met somebody else at this thing suddenly. Okay, but basically this is telling me that you guys met suddenly, kind of out of the blue. You decided to get married. It is below the significator. And then I want to talk to you about the toil and labor card. And it talks about work that you have to, situations that you would rather not have to deal with, but you need to out of necessity. And I would say that if this is the case, that the relationship has hit a rough patch, a rocky road, then you or both of you should put in the work, because all is not lost. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? Now, what I want to do is to turn over the three cards, things that will come into play, okay, for the month of, excuse me. Now, I'm not exactly sure, too, if this person is wealthy, or maybe there's money in the relationship, because I have these three cards together. But remember I said that it may be that somebody lost a job and, you know, now they're having to work, just do work or do some kind of work to put food on the table here. Okay. But basically, it can just sometimes have the connotation of out of the blue, suddenly out of the blue. Did I look at the pathway for you? I want to make sure that I got that right. Yeah, I gave it to you. The timing is 1 to 2 years. Okay. So, that may seem like a long time. But I would suggest that if you do the work, I think it would be worth it. Now, the cards that come into play, the house, the coffin, and thoughts. Now, traditionally, this card was known as his thoughts, okay? And we see the photograph of him, the painting behind him, and he's kind of giving that painting the side eye. And so, indeed, what this tells me is that the possibility of a divorce or separation is there. And maybe I don't, there are no cards necessarily of communication. There's the message of concern and the message. But there really aren't any cards of conversating with each other. And so that's one of the cards that I think is missing from the deck. In the Levita Sibila, we have the conversation card. And so it speaks about being able to sit down and have conversations with people. And so indeed, to me, this looks like, right now you may be thinking about divorce. You may be considering it. He may be considering it. But if you really want to keep the relationship, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to have to work for it, okay? It's not going to just fix itself. But then, nothing ever does. You know what I mean? Nothing ever just kind of fixes itself. So, let's see. The Lover's card. Number 15. Yeah, and the relationship is just work, but there is an out. And maybe, it just may be, the light at the end of the tunnel may be the fact that you get divorced. That would require a different kind of a reading, but this is just a general reading. And I hope that that made sense to you guys. Again, well, my thing's not up there, but I'm going to type it in right quick before we leave. This is where you can contact me if you want to book a reading. Hold on, let me fix it. I think I should pull you perhaps a romance angel card. Hidden Lotus, that's not right. tarot@gmail.com. So you can contact me there about booking a meeting, okay? A reading. So I'm going to pull a romance angel card here. Even like no conversation cards, there's not even a card here for violence, which I think is a strange thing because people were they were violent in the Victorian era. Jack the Ripper was around in the Victorian era, so violence did occur. Okay, so here we are. Formulate your question for the romance angels. Uh-oh, that one fell out, so we'll leave that one. Formulate your question, and we'll see what the romance angels have to say. This card. All right, so the card that fell out was stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe the romance has left your life. I don't know. And then the card that we pulled, healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. And that's a very, very interesting one. So let's read. We'll start with the stay optimistic. It says the romance angels send you this card to remind you that you have a strong influence upon your love life satisfaction. If you've been complaining or worrying lately, the angels guide you to shift to a more optimistic perspective. Even if you've had your romantic hopes repeatedly dashed, there's still reason to hold the faith that real love can be yours if you believe it. Today, take action steps to positively manifest the love life you desire. Whether you are single or in a relationship, begin by visualizing yourself as romantically happy and satisfied. See and imagine yourself with a wonderful partner who embodies the qualities that are important to you. Imagine that person appreciating and loving you too. Because if I'm looking at the cards, it looks like, y'all had something in common with each other. Something I think is still there. You can write, list, and conduct journaling sessions about your feelings, hopes, desires, and intentions. You can also create a dream board with images and phrases related to your love life goals, pasted onto a poster board. Daily, look at this dream board with positive intent and follow any inner guidance to take actions related to your dreams. Your positive outlook will make you a more physically and energetically attractive person, which will definitely help your relationship with yourself and everyone else too. Sometimes as we get in relationships, we get comfortable. We're not the original versions of ourselves that we were when we first met the person. And so while they're talking in this card about, dream boards and visualization and positive, you can do that, but if you're not actually following that up with action, it's not going to do you any good, okay? You have to make a plan and stick to it. I think the first thing to do would be to talk. And again, I would expect something like the heart-to-heart conversation card to have come out here, but it did not. So in a way, it tells me that I don't think there's a lot of communication going on right now. I think everybody's just kind of in their own corners doing their own things. Healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Now, this is interesting. The answers to your prayers about your love life are based on your feelings about your mother and father. The romance angels see that you benefit from releasing old anger towards one or both of them. That's because your feelings about your parents influence your choice of romantic partner and the way in which you deal with relationships. You can ask the angels to help you put forgiveness into action. To forgive someone doesn't mean that you are endorsing his or her behavior. Instead, they tell you that doing so is a form, the angels will tell you rather that doing so is a form of deep emotional detoxification. It means that I am no longer willing to carry toxic energy within my mind and body. We're talking about forgiveness here. When you find inner peace with your parents, you'll no longer need to attract unhealthy relationship patterns and partners as a way of healing family emotional wounds. All of your relationships, especially the one you have with yourself, will benefit. So basically, you know that old saying, sons marry their moms, daughters marry their fathers. Okay? Those are the qualities and it's unconscious sometimes. We don't even recognize that's what we're doing. And so if there's something about your relationship now that you find is similar to your parents' relationship, then what it's saying is that you need to work on how you feel or felt about your parents' relationship in order to heal your relationship. Again, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but this will take about a year. And so, it's up to you whether you choose to move forward with that. So with that being said, I hope this message helped. I hope you like the way the cards are read. Until next time, namaste.